Florian Marku defeats Rylan Charlton in the 8th round. Marku overall boxed well. Normally he comes forward and applies a lot of pressure. This time he turned boxer. He was switching from southpaw to orthodox. And it was Rylan Charlton who was applying the pressure, being the smaller, shorter man. But he just didn't have the punch quality, the speed, or the power really of Florian Marku. Marku was talking to Rylan Charlton from very early on in the fight, as he said he would in one of their pre-fight conversations, confrontations, whatever you want to call it. He was talking to Rylan Charlton. And one thing I will say is that Charlton, I think, was affecting Marku a little bit with some of the body shots. But Charlton was hurt in the fight. I forget which round it was, but Charlton was hurt quite badly at the end of one of the rounds. And after that point, he almost abandoned the body work completely. And that allowed Marku to, again, get back into his rhythm, because at that point, when Charlton got hurt at the end of the round, he was actually doing quite well in that round. So I don't think he realized, or maybe he was just cautious about going to the body again because he felt like he might be open for the kind of right hand, which hurt him previously. But either way, he abandoned the body attack, and I think that was having more effect on Marku than Charlton realized. But nonetheless, the fight continued. Charlton was headhunting. Marku continued to land the better, crisper, faster shots. But then, in the 6th round, Rylan Charlton landed a left hand, which sent Marku down near the ropes. Marku wasn't particularly hurt. He was a bit stunned, because when he got up, he was quite defensive and he stopped talking to Charlton from that point as well. But he, I think, kind of tripped over Charlton's foot as well as getting hit with a shot. So he wouldn't have gone down if he didn't get hit. But him tangling his foot up with Charlton's foot, I think, put him off balance, and that allowed the knockdown to happen as well. But as I say, Marku just got a bit more serious after the knockdown. It was, you have to call it a knockdown, but he wasn't like majorly hurt. And yeah, Marku just got into focus mode, put his shots together, and he was really hurting Rylan Charlton. He was real spiteful punches from Florian Marku. He was hurting him, but Rylan Charlton showed tremendous heart to keep on pushing forward and battling and looking for that big shot again to replicate what he did in the 6th round with a knockdown. But it wasn't to be. Marku put some tremendous shots together in the 8th round, and was it his corner threw in the towel? I think it was his corner threw in the towel, and that was definitely the right, yeah, there you go, his corner threw in the towel. It was definitely the right decision. Great stoppage by the corner. Too many brave cornermen out there who are gambling with their fighters' health, gambling with their fighters' lives. So good to see a corner out there who saved their fighter for another day. They understood that all hope was lost, and Rylan Charlton was too brave for his own good. A true warrior, and he can come back again. You know, Eddie Hearn's going to look at that. I'm not sure if Eddie Hearn has some type of contract with Charlton. I think he does. But he's going to look at that and say, you know what? Even though Rylan Charlton was well beaten there, he did have his moments of success, and the heart that he showed means that he's going to be a fan favorite. So I'm sure Eddie Hearn will be happy to have Rylan Charlton on more of his shows moving forward. You know, maybe match him against some of his other fighters who are coming up or whatever. Maybe Rylan Charlton will be better off at a lighter weight, because he did seem very small in there next to Florian Marku. According to Marku, prior to the fight, Rylan Charlton's people wanted it at 140. But after seeing the Jamie Stewart fight, they agreed to take it at 147. But yeah, looking at Charlton, he really is a 140 pounder rather than 147 pounder, because Marku doesn't look particularly big at 147 himself. So to be significantly bigger than Rylan Charlton shows you how small Rylan Charlton is at the weight. Now, Charlton was moving his head quite well throughout the bout, but I don't think he was using his jab enough. I know he's got the shorter arms, but jabbing is all to do with timing. I don't think he was using his jab enough. And I don't know if Rylan Charlton does weights. It's, again, not the norm for a fighter that small to do loads of weights. But I say that because his body is just a bit tight, you know? And when you're very tight like that, it can have detrimental effects for you. For one, you tend to tire quicker when your body's real tight like that. For two, you don't get your punches off as fluidly. For three, when you do get hit, if you're real tight, it's often the case you don't absorb the shots as well. So maybe that's just how he is naturally, just, very tightly bound like that, very bunchy. But if he does do any weights, I would advise him to lay off it. I'm really not a fan of fighters doing, look, there's nothing wrong with doing weights as long as it's not putting excessive muscle on your body, or as long as it's not making your body tight. Because that's what can happen. When you're constantly doing weights, your muscles become like constricted all the time. So yeah, Rylan Charlton could come again. I don't want to dismiss his career, but he's probably going to be a domestic level fighter, European level fighter maybe, based upon what I've seen so far of him. Whereas Florian Marku goes on to bigger and better things. He's still calling out the likes of Conor Benn. Florian Marku versus Josh Kelly. Would Florian Marku be up for that? He's got lots of fans. I know that there's still restrictions in place at the moment, but if and when restrictions do get lifted, would Josh Kelly be interested in coming back against Marku? Because Kelly, going into the Avanesian fight, had a lot of doubters in the British public. If he was to get in there against Marku in a grudge match, a fight where there's a lot of animosity between the two, because with Marku, there's usually going to be animosity. He's that kind of character. If Kelly was able to get in there and beat someone like that, I think that would probably get a lot of the British public back on his side. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about that, and where do you think Marku should go from here? He keeps on talking about Conor Benn. Perhaps he's not going to get that fight. Is there the possibility that Florian Marku could fight Ohara Davis? I know there's some difference in weight between them, but there has been beef between these guys from sparring. There's very different accounts in terms of who got the better of it. Ohara Davis says it was him. Florian Marku says it was him. Who knows? Would it be too much of a step up in weight for Ohara Davis to fight Florian Marku at 147 pounds? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know what you felt about his performance and where he should go next. If you'd like to access all my boxing content advert-free and enjoy the convenience of listening via a podcast app with the option to download in high-quality MP3, then consider joining me on Patreon. In addition to the aforementioned perks, you'll also gain access to exclusive weekly live stream Q&A sessions and hangouts, as well as uncensored, no-holds-barred uploads which are too blue for YouTube. This includes my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. We've also got a Discord server where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Boxing Extra. There's no contract, there's no commitment, it's only £2.50 a month, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of hardcore boxing enthusiasts by signing up with me here on Patreon today.